Hello everyone, welcome back in another video. I am Vaibhav. Today date is 12th of September 2022 and our today's video topic is Introduction to the SQL and commands in SQL. So SQL means Structured Query Language. In our SQL, now from today's video, we are going to see different types of data and data structures. What are the different types of data structure? We are going to see the different types of data structure means the data. Data means suppose when we are using any application, suppose we are using a Flipkart. That time that Flipkart are having some database. That means in that database it including some data like that customer, that user or customer's name, that's contact number, that's address. Like these things are considered as a data. That means all those things are considered supposed as a data, and all those data can gathered within that one container. That container called as a database. That means that database can be called as a data container. So that is the data container in which we are able to store the all data in a specific the manner in the row and column table like the structured manner. So the SQL comes in that case like as there is a every database software can interact with the language. That language can called as SQL. That means structured query language. So in this video, we are going to see what is SQL and their commands. So SQL, that is a one language which can be interacting within the with that with their some particular database structure, database softwares. Some database softwares are like MySQL, Oracle, Microsoft SQL, etc. Like these are some of the data structures are there. So SQL language is the same as English language. That means it is a simple to understand. That means it is easy to understand. So for understanding or accepting the globally that SQL language as a standard, it can be that SQL is standard can granted some guidelines or putting some standard in front of whole world by the ANSI, that means American National Standard Institute, can be assigning some standards or guidelines for the SQL, and they can certify that SQL throughout the world. Okay, that can be certified by the ANSI. ANSI. So after that, the guideline can be accepted by all those the databases, like as we discussed, the databases are like MySQL, Oracle, and Microsoft SQL, or etc. IBM. All there are different types of databases we are discussing in next videos. Okay, so basically, when the SQL is introduced, at that time that language is a very lengthy. That due to suppose that language can goes harder to understand. That means it's difficult to the understand because of his their huge size and his huge commands are there, huge queries are there. That's why the SQL can divided that SQL into the some parts. There it can be distributed or it can be divided in five parts. So these five parts are like as DDL, DML, DQL, DCL, and TCL. We can see all those different sub parts of SQL and what are the different commands or what are the different queries are stored within that sub parts. Let's see. Okay, for that case, our first sub part is the DDL. DDL means data definition language. That means that data definition language means that at initial level we have to create some data the structure, create some structure for the gather that data. That's why we have to create some tables and giving some drop commands or giving some alteration or renaming. Like these commands are comes within the DDL. That means it contains some queries like some queries like a drop. Drop means when we are using a drop command, that means there is a structure of table and row and columns. Okay, when we are using a particular drop command for the particular table or column or row, that time that particular table, column or row can be removed. That place can be whole place can be, or that whole table can be removed from our database. That is our drop command. After that, the next command is a create command. That means when we are using a create command, that time we are able to create the some particular set of table by the giving the rows and columns for the database. That means our table can created by using row and column. That row are containing the records and our column can containing the fields. That means within that row we are giving some records. Suppose the record we can call as in our example, we see the Amazon example. That time there is a different types of customers are there. That means that record of that customer can be written as within that row. We can write the name of that customer, after that contact number of that customer, after that address of that customer. That all things are comes within that row, and within that different within that comes within that column, and within the different row we are feeding the data of that each customer. That means each row consists the data of each customer or each user of that site. That means we are able to store the data within the form of row and column by using a table in our SQL. Okay. After that, the next command is a truncate. When we use a truncate query in our SQL, that time we are able to remove the data from table, but that table still present. That means without dropping that table, that means without removing that table, we are able to remove that particular data from the table. After that, the next command is a alterate. By using alter, we are able to perform some alteration operation. And the next command is a rename. When we are creating some new tables or some new databases, that time we have to change the name. That time we are using that particular command of rename. Okay. After that, our next subtype is a DML. DML means data manipulation language. The manipulation means we know that there is some particular data type structure or in the table. We have to inserting some data or updating some data or deleting some data. That kind of queries or that kind of operations are including in our DML. That means within our data manipulation language. There are consisting different queries like insert. Insert means whenever we creating data, that time we have to add some data of different. We have to add some data. That time we are using that query of insert in our data structure. That time suppose there is a data of 100 customers and we have to add again and again the additional customers data like name, number, and address. That time we are using that command, that query as a insert. After that, there is a one more command is that is the update. That means whenever we are manipulation in our table, that time we have to update that whole data for the our consisting data for upgradation or for accessibility. After that, the next query is a delete. By using delete, we are able to remove that table or remove that particular data from our SQL table. Okay. After that, the next and third our subtype is a DQL. That means data query language. Within the data query language, there is only one query is there, that is the select. By using select query, we are able to read that or we are able to see the data which is stored or which is present in that table. By using select, we are able to only see that data which is present in our table. After that, our next subtype or our fourth type is DCL. That means data control language. By using data control language, we are able to give some accessibility of our data or accessibility of our table which is consisting of data. We are giving accessibility to the other database. That by that accessibility, that other database can easily access the data from our another database and gather the data from other databases. For that operations, there are two queries are there. That is the grant and another one is the reward. Okay. By using grant query, we are giving the access to the another database for the gather the data or for access the data from another database. And the vice versa, there is a reverse type, that is the our revolve query is there. By using revolve query, we are remove that accessibility. That means we are giving the accessibility to another for accessing the data by using grant, and we are removing that grant. That means we are remove that command of accessibility by using reward. That means we remove the accessibility from the from another's. Okay. After that, the next and fifth subtype is the TCL. TCL means uh, transient control language. That means in our transient control language, there comes some different queries like commit, rollback, save point, like that. Different types of transient data are there. So in our SQL, we are going to see what in what manner we are able to store the data, or we are able to store the database, and different types of database are present in our Java. So this is overall about SQL and commands in SQL. Thank you.